You know, it seems like every time we have good news on the show, it's tied to unions. There was a decision that was made, and it's a very concerted effort that unions are now going on the offense, and they're no longer on defense. We spoke about this with the great labor reporter, Jonah Furman, on Crystal Kyle and Friends not too long ago. And we're seeing evidence of it everywhere, where unions are winning battles. You know, the John Deere workers won a pretty good contract when they went on strike. Well, Kellogg's workers have been on strike for a while now, and it turns out they just won. They won big concessions. Now, there was reporting not too long ago that Kellogg's was like, we'll just bring in scabs permanently and get rid of the actual workers. Well, it appears now there's been a reversal, and the actual Kellogg's workers have won some major concessions. So what I want to do here first is show you how Bernie recently went and spent time on the picket line with the Kellogg's workers, and showed some phenomenal solidarity here. And then afterwards, I'll tell you the terms of the new contract. Take a look at this.
If you love America, I've all, come from the Senate, every politician there, how much they love America. You got the big American flags. If you love America, you love the workers. And if you love American workers, you don't ship their jobs to desperate people in Mexico and pay them 90 cents an hour. In the middle of a pandemic, legitimately, you are heroes and heroines, right? You are feeding America. And it is just outrageous to me that the company responds to your sacrifices by saying, we're taking your jobs to Mexico. We're going to have younger workers coming in at lower wages and benefits while they give their CEO $12 million a year, I guess.
Everyone is sick and tired of working every single waking moment of their life. I'm tired. We're all tired. You know who's not tired? That building over there. They're not tired of us working 7 days a week, 12, 16-hour days. They do. They have half-day Fridays over there.
Bernie, welcome.
What's going on here is, in fact, going on all over the country. And I think people all over America are looking at you and saying, thank you for having the guts to stand up for working people. Oh! Do you work at Kellogg's?
No.
Do you make cereal?
No.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sanders. Thank you. People, as Trevor have just said, given their lives to this company.
My grandfather stood out on strike the last time Kellogg's was on strike in 1972, and now my husband is out here. My daughter has worked for this company. This is not just a job to most of these people.
And that makes what they're doing even uglier,
yeah.
Isn't it? I mean, you have generations. Your family is
Fourth generation.
To talk about permanent replacements or sending jobs to Mexico is a real betrayal, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And let me say to Kellogg's, you don't treat people who gave their lives to your company by threatening them with permanent replacements. There's one word that defines what the trade union movement is about. It's solidarity, isn't it? That's the word, and that's what you're showing. All across this country, working people are saying, enough is enough. We want dignity, we want respect, we want justice.
Mr. Sanders?
Yeah.
I made you something. I know you're famous for your mittens, but you need a hat.
That was adorable there at the end. Yeah, the video is longer than that. It's maybe a minute or two longer than what I just showed you. But, yeah, that's powerful, man. That's powerful. And I will say, look, Bernie's got plenty of flaws that I talk about all the time. I do think he is somewhat naive about the way power works, and he feels like if he goes along with Democratic leadership, he can get concessions more than at times drawn a little more of a hard line and relying on his base of support to apply popular pressure. So I do have criticisms of Bernie, but at the same time, you cannot deny that the man is one of the only ones in D.C. who truly cares about working people. And it's clear his whole career has been centered on trying to do right by the American people. And this clip really highlights it. I mean, he's a senator. Does he have to go to a Kellogg strike in the middle of, the winter and shake hands and show support? No. But he does it because he cares. So, I mean, credit to Bernie, but really the credit to the Kellogg's workers here who are standing up and fighting back against corporate greed. So, More Perfect Union yesterday tweeted this. Breaking. Striking Kellogg's workers have voted to approve the latest contract offer from the breakfast giant. Workers went on strike for 10 weeks to fight for better wages and benefits after working 24/7 during the pandemic. The contract wins raises for all workers, including an immediate 3% raise for long-term or legacy workers. Workers will also receive an immediate cost of living raise. The strike preserved high-quality healthcare benefits and won big bumps for retirement funds. Kellogg's threatened its workforce by hiring permanent scabs, a plan condemned by Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. The deal alters but does not eliminate the two-tier system and is silent on the rampant abuses of forced overtime. Okay, so this is a similar thing to what we saw with the John Deere strike. Basically, with the John Deere strike, there was a contract that barely failed. I mean, it was like 52% against it or whatever. And John Deere was like, okay, we're walking away from the table. But then they came back to the table and there was another contract offer. And that contract offer was approved. And basically, there were huge changes. The one thing that wasn't totally changed was the pre-1997 rule where, in other words, the two-tier system where like new workers don't get paid as well as the older workers and have fewer benefits. And it appears like the exact same thing happened with this Kellogg strike where they got a number of massive concessions. But still, there's still some semblance of a two-tier system, and they weren't able to address the overtime dilemma here as well. So, look, those things should be addressed, and it's very possible in the next contract negotiations they will be addressed. Same thing with the John Deere strike. And to be clear, the John Deere workers even said, we don't expect that this part actually gets addressed, at least not in this first contract. And I think the Kellogg's workers felt the exact same. But look, they were able to get big concessions. It's a good contract. It's not a great contract, but it's a contract that the workers voted to approve. And I think they did that because it is sufficient. So I just want everybody to know that in the wake of all of these terrible stories, these bombarded with negative news day after day about corruption in Washington, D.C., and weak, feckless Democrats, and a left flank that's totally toothless, and you got all these things that you look at, and you're like, well, Jesus Christ, what is even the point? A lot of people go full nihilist with the onslaught of the negative news. What I want you to know is, it is not all negative. And when the going gets tough, work harder, and fight harder, and be more intelligent, and strategize, and organize. And, it's the union workers who are leading the way here. And so, I want to say a big thank you to the Kellogg's workers and a big thank you to the John Deere workers because, in a way, they're providing us with the only dose of hope that we've been getting. And that should fire you up to want to do more on your own. If you're in a workplace that's not unionized, maybe you try to form a union. There's other ways to get involved in politics, and I support literally any avenue where you think you can make a positive change. Whether it's running for some state or local position or joining the DSA or whatever it might be. We're not, yes, there's a brick wall in front of us, but sometimes brick walls get demolished. And so it's better to do that and keep the fight up than just stand there and stare at the brick wall and say, oh, there's nothing I could do about it. Well, they did something about it. The Kellogg's workers did something about it. The John Deere workers did something about it. And so that means we could all do something about it. So solidarity to these workers, and a big thank you to Bernie Sanders for that show of support. And let's notch some more victories, man. This, if nothing else, this should fire up other unions to now know, hey, we can win. We can win. Let's start taking more direct action. And again, let's keep it on the offense and not the defense anymore. That's what we're beginning to see. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.